Good morning from Thurso in Caithness. Today I'm taking the X99 bus service down to Inverness. Now normally if I have to travel in these parts I will always take the train, but we've got to be balanced, so we're going to try out the bus, see how it goes. Why don't you come along? Okay, so provisions have been secured. I am on the 11:50 service from Thurso, which is due to arrive in Inverness at 15:23, so 3 hours 33 minutes, and I think this is going to be a good one. Today's journey will see us leave Thurso and head across the north coast to Castletown. From there we'll head inland to Wick, and then it's south down the A99 and A9 with a brief diversion into Dornoch, and then back out onto the A9 to Inverness. And here is our bus. It's a Volvo B13RT Paxton Panther 2 with the handy number plate X99 HCB. I think that HCB might be a little nod to Highland country buses. Please let me know if that's right in the comments. Anyway, let's get on board.
Hello. Inverness.
Lovely, thank you. And the first thing to note is, look at those windows. Oh dear. Another thing to note is, if you would like to keep up with my travels, then please do consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for all your support. And over there, through the grime, is the most northerly point on the UK mainland, Dunnet Head. It is there, you'll just have to take my word for it. This is Castletown, and this seems as good a time as any to go and check out the loo. Okay, so what have we got? Water that doesn't work. Hand towel. Useful guidance on how to use the loo. Whoa! That window should look like that. It should be frosted because you don't want to see out or in when you're in here, unlike the windows in the main body of the coach, which are just dirty. I don't know. Are we saying shabby chic or just shabby? And pulling into Wick, we make two stops here. The first one on St Fergus Road, where a number of passengers joined the service, and then a second just a few minutes later on Bridge Street, where again a few passengers got on board. As we make our way across the Wick River, we soon come in sight of Ebenezer Place, which in 2006 was awarded the shortest street in the world record, officially recognised by the Guinness Book of World Records. It measures 2.05 metres across, or 6 feet 9 inches. Wi-Fi was offered, so let's see how we get on with that. Not well, to be honest. But you know, at least I could look out the window. So I don't want to go on ad infinitum about the windows, but I do appreciate this doesn't make for great viewing. However, we're just arriving in the village of Lybster, and I want to share a couple of little interesting things with you about Lybster. So on the side of this building, you'll notice the French words Quatre Bras. And I always wondered, growing up in Caithness, why is there a random French street name?
in a Highland village. So, Lybster was begun as a planned village in 1802 by the local landowner General Patrick Sinclair. 2 days before the Battle of Waterloo, the Battle of Quatre Bras took place, in which Sinclair's sons fought. So in their honour, he named a section of Main Street where it now meets what is the A99, Quatre Bras, which in French literally means 4 arms or crossroads. Something else that used to take place in Lybster, not so much now, is the sport of knotty. Knotty. Not naughty, that's a different game entirely. So knotty is a variation of shinty. You have a stick, which is called the knotty, and a cork fishing float, which is used as the ball. According to local history, it was invented by the fishing wives of Lybster. Lybster was once one of Europe's busiest herring ports, and it was designed to keep the men sober when they were ashore. Now, with the rundown of the herring industry, the game kind of fell out of fashion, fell into abeyance, but then a local hotelier found a copy of the rules of the sport wedged between the pages of a Gaelic Bible in a bedroom. So, have you played Naughty? Do you know anyone who does? Please let me know in the comments. So let's talk money. My single fare from Thurso to Inverness for an adult came in at £21.60 for a journey that lasts 3 hours 33 minutes, and that seems to be a standard price. Looking a week or so in advance, it's still £21.60. How does that compare to the train? Well, the train for the following week, a one-way ticket from Thurso to Inverness was £27. However, looking further ahead, you could have a fare of £16, and with my Highland Rail card, it was £13.50. The train does take longer, admittedly, but for £13.50, or indeed for £16 if you're not a Highland resident, I think that's where my money's going. As we wind and twist our way down the Berriedale Braes, if you look up on the hillside, you can spot 2 crenellated towers. These are nicknamed the Duke's Candlesticks. They were purchased by the Duke of Portland, and they're navigation aids to help fishermen find their way to the river mouth. So if you fancy exploring this part of the world by bus, then there are 3 services in each direction on weekdays, 2 services on a Saturday, and 1 on a Sunday. 1 service per day, Monday through Saturday, will connect through to Scrabster to meet with the Orkney ferry. There's also 1 service which runs from Scrabster to Inverness on a Sunday, but there is no Sunday service from Inverness to Scrabster, so don't try to go to Orkney on a Sunday. Continuing our journey, we come to Brora, and Brora is one of those places that just reminds me why I love to travel, because it has such a fascinating history. It was nicknamed the Electric City because in 1913 it was the first settlement north of Inverness to have electricity. Indeed, it had electric street lighting. It's also had a coal mine, which closed in 1974, a brickworks, it's got a distillery. In its past, it's had fish curing, salt pans, even a lemonade factory. So if you're in this part of the world, it's another one of those little villages that's well worth having a wander around. Again, so much to see, but just such annoying windows. You might just be able to spot the track bed of the former Dornoch Light Railway. It ran from the Mound station on the far north line to Dornoch, the county town of Sutherland. And speaking of Dornoch, our service takes a little detour off the A9 to pull in to this very pleasant town. If you're into your celebrity gossip, it was here in the year 2000 when Madonna and soon-to-be husband Guy Ritchie had their son Rocco christened at the cathedral. I say it's gossip, I mean it did actually happen. It's a celebrity thing, and to be fair, it's been a lot quieter in Dornoch since those heady days of the year 2000. Okay, so let's check out the seat. Firstly, overhead, will the reading light work? Yes, for the first time ever for me on a coach. Chuffed with that. As for the seating area itself, it was clean, apart from the crumbs that I've deposited on the floor, and the legroom was good. It was spacious, can't complain about that. The bus has obviously seen a bit of wear and tear. There's been some stitching done there. I don't know if you'd want that person as your surgeon necessarily, but all in all, the seat was comfy enough. Couldn't really fault it. It did look that there had been power sockets on this coach, but they seem to have been removed. Is that a Stagecoach thing? Is that what they do? Something to bear in mind if you are traveling on a long distance bus journey. You might want to make sure all your devices are charged or you have backup supplies. If you've got this far in the video, well, why not consider subscribing to the channel? You can keep up with my travels. And thanks to everyone who has subscribed, and thanks to you for watching. So this has been, for me, a really tricky one to edit because the windows have just done my head in. So I'm probably going to skip forward now from between the Dornoch Firth and Inverness because it's just not fun. So we'll see you in Inverness.
Cheers. Thank you. Right, welcome to Inverness. Get my thoughts on the journey in a wee minute. Right, I've got myself a wee quiet spot in Costa just to give my thoughts on the journey. So, what were the good things about the journey? The bus driver, he was very friendly. That was excellent. The interior of the bus was really clean, and there were lots of bags left out for rubbish, which was good. We left Thurso late, but we arrived in Inverness early, so that's all positive. And the overhead light worked, which is the bane of my life, so I was chuffed about that. The not so good, the windows. I mean, I don't think that's a day or two's worth of muck on those windows. That's not great. The toilet, and the Wi-Fi didn't work. And normally I wouldn't be worried about the Wi-Fi not working, because I would just look out the window. But there we go. Would I take the bus again, travelling north-south between Inverness and Thurso? I don't know. I think I'm going to take the train. That's just me. What about you? Are you a bus person or a train person? Have you used the X99? What are your thoughts on it? I thought there was room for improvement. That's just my opinion. I look forward to hearing yours. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.